Nigeria has over the past few decades been plagued by a lot of climatic irregularities with serious concerns on the society.
Sahel Regional Climate Change Conference, President Buhari urges urgent funding, promises Nigeria's readiness to host secretariats. Countdown to February 25 general elections, Chief of Army Staff speaks tough on mischief makers.
Criminals, thugs, hooligans, and miscreants are advised in their own interest to abide by the laws of the nation.
Plus, 2023 flood predictions. 32 states should be affected.
It is our duty to ensure that necessary measures are taken to mitigate the impacts of this natural disaster.
Good evening and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I am Elizabeth Omori. Adiola Komiakari joins us from Lagos. Don't forget to follow this newscast live on our website nta.ng/live, NTA News Now on Twitter, as well as other social media platforms displayed on the screen. We begin with climate matters. President Muhammad Buhari is urging the international community to urgently provide adequate and predictable financial resources to the Sahel Region Climate Commission towards mitigating and adapting the climate change and sustainable development in the region. Addressing the second session of the heads of state and government of the Sahel Region Climate Commission in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, the president pledged Nigeria's readiness to host the Secretariat of the Sahel Climate Fund, equip and provide accommodation to top management staff. State House correspondent Adam Musambo has details.
The adverse impact of climate change, particularly in Africa, experts say is not only a threat to human survival, but also an underlying cause of many conflicts with the potential of causing regional instability. This conference, attended by leaders of member countries of the Sahel Region Climate Commission, is convened to analyze the prevailing situation and chart the best way forward for the region. President Muhammadu Buhari told participants that the situation, characterized by desertification, extreme temperatures, recurrent droughts with perceptible effects on agricultural production, weakens both the living condition of the populations and the ecosystems, as well as contributes to the growing insecurity.
Nigeria has over the past few decades been plagued by a lot of climatic irregularities with serious concerns on the society due to the spontaneous nature and likely overwhelming effects on national development, with implications for food security and the sustainable livelihood of Nigerians.
Nigeria, he said, wishes to be part of the successful operationalization of the Sahel Region Climate Fund towards effective implementation of climate change activities by the Sahel Region Climate Commission.
The Sahel Climate Fund will serve as a gateway to climate finance and investment strategy that considers innovative and practical ways to overcome multiple risk impediments and sustainable financial support to Sahelian countries. Nigeria pledges to host the Secretariat of the Sahel Climate Fund, equip and provide accommodation to the top management staff of the fund.
The fund, President Buhari said, will be the necessary climate finance mechanism that will not only be adequate but also predictable towards strengthening the adaptation and resilience capacities of local communities, improve their livelihoods, and ensure the effective participation of the Sahel region in the global effort to curb greenhouse gas emissions. The Sahel geoclimate region comprises 17 countries stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea, including Nigeria. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Adam Musambo, NTA News.
And back home, 178 local government areas across 32 states and the FCT have been predicted as prone to flooding in 2023. This was revealed at the presentation of the 2023 Annual Flood Outlook in Abuja by the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and partners on mitigating devastating effects. Oluseyi Adiagbo tells us more.
present this to you.
Discussions at this 2023 Flood Outlook presentation review devastating experience in 2022, which affected 33 states, about 100,000 hectares of farmland, with over 600 deaths recorded. The World Bank estimated its economic damage to about $6.68 billion and getting set for the 2023 projection, with virtually all states of the Federation and the FCT to have its own share. These experts are now setting benchmark to avoid surge.
And it is our duty to ensure that necessary measures are taken to mitigate the impacts of this natural disaster. Together, we can work to minimize the impacts of flood on our communities and ensure a safe and more flood-resilient Nigeria.
For the first time, we are coming up as early as February. It has not been so before. Earliest have been around March, April. And that will give us ample opportunity to take necessary actions. So this year, we are introducing another dimension to it, whereby within every 5 days, we'll give you notice, tell you what is going to happen.
The 2023 Flood Outlook document is to be translated into all languages in Nigeria to disseminate the messages to the grassroots, with relevant institutions expected to be harmonized in strengthening preparedness. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Away from the flood outlook, 24 hours after President Muhammadu Buhari's broadcast on the Naira redesign policy, a lot of Nigerians who besieged banks and payment terminals were disappointed, as clearly the action is yet to come fully effective. Bosede Abel, who has been monitoring the situation, now brings us an update.
Recall that President Muhammadu Buhari just this Thursday approved that the Central Bank of Nigeria reintroduced the old 200 Naira notes to ease the heightened tensions and apprehensions in the nation in response to public outcry. But as I speak, the old notes are yet to be available at automated teller machines within Abuja metropolis.
The situation is still as bad as before, because the old 200 Naira notes had been taken away from the society. So where are the banks to bring it back? The banks are not opening. Virtually all the banks in this area, about 10 banks in this area, and none of them is actually open.
I went to Gariki, I should come back to this place. Since then I have been here. Some tough men will come, they will make or they will enter inside, I collect money and go. And look at me with my baby since 8 o'clock. Now they are telling me that there's no money again.
Money is like almost like a spiritual thing now. Now I just enter the bank. They don't do any transaction that involve money. Now the only thing you do, you have to check your account. Because I came to check my account to know somebody sent me money. They don't even have network. Yesterday, 2 people sent me money. I didn't find the money. There was no alert. I don't know whether they are doing it intentional, because now they say we should be doing internet banking. Now they don't have service.
Old 200 Naira, I've never seen it again. I don't know where it is. And inside the bank now, if you enter the bank, they will say there's no money. That CBN did not give them money to give to us.
After all said and done, Nigerians are asking, where are the 200 Naira old notes? That's the situation report here in Abuja. I am Bosede Abel, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Bose, for the update. Counting down to Nigeria's first digital head count, National Population Commission unveils Census dashboard to provide real-time reports simultaneously in all parts of the country. Olusheye Adiagbo reports that the Commission also presented enumeration area demarcation reports.
Remuneration Area Demarcation (EAD) is the delineation of the entire country into units of remunerator assignment area maps for census and surveys, a national exercise that took the NPC 8 years to conclude. The EAD has produced a hub of human and geospatial resources for the census project, such as the census map, compendium of locality, and mobile network maps to aid planning for availability of network for types on the feed, among others.
We concluded 100%. So internet challenges will always be there. They're everywhere. But our ability to overcome them and get going and get the products that we need is what's critical.
It is to show that we are really prepared to conduct this census, because you cannot do any census without this enumeration area frame.
That is what we want to know, how many functionaries we are sending to each location, the number of materials we'll give, even the logistics on how to move them, and then we'll also use it for processing of the census results and then for dissemination.
Why the EAD deliverables is explained by census planners as resources to having a credible outcome in April's headcounts and data materials for national planning. The dashboard is to ensure monitoring of census activities, engagement of functionaries on the field, and smooth operations. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
As stipulated by the Petroleum Industry Act, the NNPC has legally performed a final cut-over to NNPC Limited 18 months after. This means the company is profit-driven by law to explicitly deliver on its mandates. Lydia Sampson reports on these developments and more on the event tagged A New Dawn held in Abuja.
This is the symbolic sunset of NNPC Corporation, folding up an old flag and hoisting of a new one. For the first group chief executive officer, NNPC Limited, and all key players here, it is simply no longer business as usual, as the NNPC Limited severed its umbilical cord with the old Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation.
It is now imperative for NNPC Limited to sharpen its business tools to remain afloat and compete favorably with the best in the industry worldwide.
Every asset of the corporation, including its liability, has been transferred to the NNPC Limited. And I repeat that the liabilities are far, far less than the assets that we have. So it's a very, very comfortable situation.
It is only President Buhari that could have done this. You know that legislation had taken the better part of 20 years.
Complacency, bye-bye. Hello, and welcome to strict corporate governance.
Symbolizes rebirth, resilience, growth.
I believe that NNPC is transiting to where it will obey the law to the latter.
Though the new company is armed with a new strategy and a new brand identity with clear business and operating models, it also now has access to financing, unlike in the past when long protracted talks led to nowhere. The group's Chief Executive Officer NNPC Limited says issues with the landing cost of petrol at 350 per litre, culminating to 400 billion naira of subsidy, is a drain on cash flow to the company. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Abuja Media and Ethics, the National Broadcasting Commission is determined to collaborate with security agencies to clamp down on illegal broadcasters in the country. Director General of the Commission, Balarabe Shehu Ilela, said this during the presentation of provisional approvals to newly approved radio and television licenses in Abuja. Adebola Brookston Sunday was there.
The presentation is a follow-up to President Muhammadu Buhari's approval of 67 additional licenses to the 673 already existing stations, bringing to a total of 740 functional broadcast outfits in Nigeria. Presenting the offer letters to beneficiaries, the NBC boss said the presidential approval is a testimonial of President Buhari's yearnings for media pluralism and freedom of expression.
They should use the license to preach unity and use it in such a way that they bring the country together. They must not use it against the citizens of this country, because the license is a public property. Yes, you are given the license to use because you applied for the license, but you should understand that it's on trust. Do not go against the code. The operation of the license must be within the ambit of our law.
There wasn't any lobbying. We just follow due process. So ours is basically for educational purposes.
We are expecting more from the presidency to show you that the president...
Internet Protocol Television and all other broadcast stations that are streaming online were also tasked to register with the Commission to avoid disconnection and prosecution. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
In other news, the presidency says there is absolutely no truth to the claim that President Muhammadu Buhari is working towards an interim government, or even worse, the truncation of democracy that he has helped to keep alive not only here at home in West Africa, but throughout the continent. In a statement, the presidency describes this move as another dangerous dimension by people who are afraid that they may lose their elections, saying everybody is aware that there is pressure on everyone, the party, its elected officials, its candidates and law enforcement agencies, following the way the currency swap has gone. But the way to go is not to panic. The statement says it is precisely because the president is concerned with the problem that he opened several avenues for consultations with leaders and groups across the country, culminating in his broadcast to the nation on Thursday morning. The solution to the problem is not in sending Nigerians into confusion, as elections just a week ahead will hold and Nigerians will vote on the basis of their choice. The president looks forward to handing over the reins of power to his elected successor on May 29, as the Constitution requires. You're watching the Network News on NTA. Let's take a breather, and when we return, our political reports will be up. To stay with us. You're still watching the Network News. Big weeks in Nigeria's political terrain should encourage behaviors devoid of violent antagonism to allow the country's democracy grow. APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu said this during his courtesy call on Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State before the APC presidential and governorship campaign rally in Ibadan. Musbaudan Wahab reports.
After an initial postponement, the APC presidential campaign train was finally in the pace-setter state to convince the more than 3.2 million registered voters here for support. The rally turned out to be a carnival as party loyalists gave an expression to their optimism with their turnout at the iconic Makbo Square. The long wait was not in vain as Asiwaju presented the APC governorship candidate in Oyo State, Teslim Folarin, with enthusiastic supporters confident that the party is in for good show at the polls next week.
His Excellency, Asiwaju.
The APC presidential candidate took his mission to Governor Seyi Makinde, calling for peace across political divides.
It's about time we look at politics from different prisms and remove all antagonistic behaviors from the surface of it.
The governor, a member of a PDP G5, commented on the stand of his group.
The G5 and the Integrity Group were saying that, look, if we have to choose between the unity of this country and our political aspirations, we will choose the unity of this country.
The Tinubu-Shettima campaign team also had a meeting with traditional rulers from across the southwest. From Ibadan, Musbau and Wahab, NTA News.
The APC Presidential Campaign Council has described as fake news a viral news published by the People's Gazette claiming that its candidate Bola Tinubu has asked APC governors to ignore President Muhammadu Buhari's broadcast and enforce the Supreme Court's ruling on the recirculation of old Naira notes. In a statement by the Director, Media and Publicity of the Council, Bayo Onanuga, said Tinubu never issued such an order and that Dele Alake, the APC PCC advisor on media and communications, never issued such advisory on behalf of Asiwaju Tinubu. He added that the APC presidential candidate has been known since the currency swap crisis started to call for calm as authorities try to find solution to the currency situation. The statement also acknowledged that Tinubu has held several meetings with President Buhari over the matter, and it is unthinkable that he would instruct APC governors to disregard President Muhammadu Buhari's order on the currency matter. The statement adds that Asiwaju has had no influence in the decision of state governors who have commented on the issue. Now, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, invites state governors of the party to an emergency meeting. The party's national publicity secretary, Felix Morka, in a statement said the emergency meeting will hold on Sunday, February 19, 2023 by 2 p.m. at the party's national secretariat, Abuja. Barely a week to the presidential election, the All Progressives Congress is expanding its campaign strategies. The party's zonal, state and local government women leaders converged on Abuja to take some last-minute decisions in the interest of the party. Saliu Granar reports.
Since the inception of the current Fourth Republic, reports from the Independent National Electoral Commission has shown that women have maintained the lead with the highest number of registered voters. This strength is what is motivating the APC zonal, state and local government women leaders at a strategic engagement that climaxes the campaign by the women wing of the 2023 Tinubu-Shettima presidential campaign.
And I know you all needed this recognition. Okay, we are not ungrateful people. You will get to know us if opportunity is given to us.
The task ahead of us truly is not going to be easy, but inshallah, with our determination, focus, and prayers, we're going to deliver APC.
As soon as you leave this hall and find your way back to your state and your polling unit, the real job starts.
This election victory is not for Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima. It's for APC.
It was resolved here that before the presidential election, the women need to show more commitment through their actions before they can count their desired blessings. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the campaign train of the new Nigeria People's Party arrived at Abakaliki, the Ebonyi state capital, where it hosted the people of the Southeast. Fortunate also reports that the presidential candidate of the party, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, promised to run an all-inclusive government where basic education as well as primary health care will be free and affordable.
The campaign rally, which brought together party stalwarts of the new Nigeria People's Party from the southeastern part of the country, commenced with a road walk in major streets of Abakaliki to affirm their unflinching support to the candidacy of Dr. Rabiu Kwankwaso and other candidates of the party.
We take care of everything health. The health of women and children will be free. We are bringing education, quality education, from kindergarten to the university.
Our presidential candidate, Senator Dr. Musa Rabiu Kwankwaso, stands for a new Nigeria.
The vice presidential candidate, Bishop Benson Edahosa, thanked the Southeast for their support.
He has felt your affliction, not just you, the entire country. We are in an economic quagmire. God has raised him up to deliver you, deliver me.
There was presentation of flags to the party's governorship candidates, as well as candidates vying for other positions in the zone. In Abakaliki, Fortunate Ozo, NTA News.
Genuine dialogue with representatives of communities towards a united and sustainable economy is what the presidential candidate of the National Rescue Movement, Felix Johnson Osakwe, says he will prioritize if elected president of Nigeria. The presidential candidate harped on this while unveiling his manifesto in Abuja. Joseph Otsen reports.
Next week, we'll see Nigerians go to the polls to elect the next president of the country and National Assembly members. Capacity of candidates and what they bring to the table towards development of the country is likely to influence choices made by the electorate.
New, exciting.
Here is the presidential candidate of the National Rescue Movement, Felix Johnson Osakwe, with his ideas tagged Rising Nigeria Again.
When we police our communities, by allowing the traditional rulers and the youth to come together, when we have a database
for whosoever in our community in all the 774 local governments. We will now begin to dialogue with the right people, and we have the state police. When we put all this together, I believe that Nigerians can go to sleep with their two eyes closed.
Osakwe is looking forward to building a government that will empower citizens to be self-sufficient with easy access to healthcare and diversified economy. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
In the same vein, the vice presidential candidate of Labour Party, Dr. Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, has charged Nigerians to come out in their numbers and vote Labour Party in next week's presidential election to build the Nigeria of their dreams. This was while briefing newsmen in Abuja on the party's readiness for the polls. Ekene Undulwe reports.
It is a week to Nigeria's big election, and the decision of who takes charge of the country seemingly rests in the hands of voters. Dati Baba Ahmed is grateful to Nigerians for the support so far, and once again is assuring voters that Labour Party is better positioned to take the country out of the woods.
Today I call on all Nigerians of goodwill, Nigerians who care about the youth, to come out en masse and vote Labour Party. We offer Nigerians a leadership with character we know, with proven records of competence we can trust.
The vice presidential candidate is promising accountability in leadership while urging INEC to maintain neutrality in the elections. With the finish line in sight, the Obedience, as supporters of Peter Obi call themselves, is announcing a nationwide rally on Saturday the 18th of February to drive support for the Labour Party presidential candidate. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Allied People's Movement, APM, has adopted the presidential and vice presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar and Ifeanyi Okowa, for the 25th February 2023 presidential election. The party's national chairman, Yusuf Maman Dantale, said that decision was reached at the party's National Executive Committee meeting. After evaluating the democratic credentials of Atiku Abubakar and Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, the Allied People's Movement considers it appropriate to adopt them in the forthcoming election.
The organ of the party is the National Executive Committee, and the National Executive Committee sat and took decision that what is happening out of the 18 registered political parties and the candidates contesting is only one person that will emerge the president. You cannot have two presidents. APM is egalitarian in nature. It is not a do or die thing.
The party says it will contest all other elective positions. And hundreds of youth and women took to the streets in Yola, Adamawa State capital, on a road walk to canvass support for the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar ahead of the presidential election. Wife of the PDP presidential candidate Titi Abubakar also joined the walk to ensure victory of the party. Simon Asher tells us more.
The work, which is to canvass votes for Atiku Abubakar, so youths and women, among other supporters of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), going to the streets of Yola to identify with the plans, programs of action of the PDP presidential candidate for a better Nigeria if given the mandate. The solidarity work started from PZ Roundabout and terminated at Police Barracks Flyover Bridge, chanting solidarity songs with placards indicating their interest on the presidential ambition of the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar.
This solidarity work is to show that Waziri Atiku Abubakar is the man youths want now.
The wife of the PDP presidential candidate, Titi Atiku Abubakar, says a vote for Atiku is a vote for the prosperity of the nation.
Anywhere my husband went to, he has been well received. And the accolades is very high. The expectation is very high. People are they are in very, very high spirits.
With the kind of support in the home state of Atiku Abubakar, PDP members say victory is assured for the former vice president. In Yola, Simon Asher, NTA News.
And for more reports on the network news, let's join Adeola in Lagos. Hello, Adeola.
Hello, Elizabeth. Prayer is one powerful tool that believers use to communicate to their Creator, to set their path straight when in need and distress. As the race to the February presidential election nears its climax, members of Ansarudin Society of Nigeria in Lagos are seeking the face of Allah for mercy and a peaceful, credible and violent-free election. Annie Daniels reports.
There can be no better time to ask for guidance, direction, peace and harmony from God than now, when Nigerians are getting set to elect new leadership who will steer the affairs of government at various levels for the next 4 years. This gathering by Ansarudin Society of Nigeria is targeted at praying against forces that may manipulate the election. National Missioner of the Society, Abdurrahman Ahmad, says Nigeria has experienced many challenges, adding that it was the prayers of the faithful that had kept the country together, emphasizing on the gains of unity.
And the fact that we need to address those challenges head on. We need to pray for our leaders. We need to pray for ourselves. We need to pray for a peaceful election. We need to pray for a stable country.
The occasion was also a platform to call on Nigerians to come out without any fear to perform their civic responsibilities and shun all forms of violence before, during and after the election.
They should not give any room for violence or for anything that can cause violence. So in doing that, you've fulfilled some part of what you are enshrined to do in any religion.
We always enjoin our people, irrespective of their busy schedule, to ensure that on the day of elections, they are there to cast their vote.
There was supplication for Allah's protection and continuous peace in Nigeria. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
The beauty of African culture was on display as young Nigerians from different schools converged on Lagos to showcase their creative skills and talent in various ways. Diana Ajala reports that the event was put together by the Center for Black African Art and Civilization, CBAC, with the aim to unleash the great potential in children as a way of promoting the rich African cultural heritage among the younger generation.
Call it Children Talent Hunt, and you won't be wrong. The primary focus here is harnessing the creative potential of the African child. The sounds produced from the talking drum, traditional chants, horns of the saxophone, high vibrating rhythm of the board in response to the beats, and the tones of songs and the harmony of dance steps, and more, reflect the true African culture. 6-year-old talking drummer, Sofiat Olaide, who came fully prepared, did not disappoint her audience. For the children, it is a real opportunity to showcase their talents.
Like me now, I've not gone to any show that I'll be able to do something like this. I think they gave me the opportunity to express myself.
First time my mom wanted, Mommy, you want to go and learn talking drum. She said, is everything that you want to learn? I said, yes, this talking drum, I must learn it.
This platform by CBAC is expected to discover untapped raw talents among young Nigerians to build a career for themselves.
It is better for us to start checking the gifts God has given each and every one of us. We'll try as much as possible to bring out these gifts that God has given them.
Participants were not only presented with certificates, but went home with cash token and several trophies. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
Just a way to discover them. You're still watching the news on the network service of the NTA. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. There'll be more.
Glad to know you're still there. It's 1 week to the 2023 general elections, and the Nigerian army is warning criminals to stay away from the process as security agencies are on standby to deal with threats. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya gave the warning at the inauguration of Course 7 of the Nigerian Army War College in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Forthcoming general election is an endorsement that Nigeria has really embraced democracy as the Fourth Republic experienced constant civilian transitions. Top in preparation for a successful electioneering process is the provision of a secured environment for the elections.
I want to assure the nation of the commitment and resolve Nigerian Army along with the other services, agencies and stakeholders of our preparedness to provide conducive environment for a free, fair, and credible election. Criminals, thugs, hooligans, and miscreants are advised in their own interest to abide by the laws of the nation.
Similarly, security agencies and administrators have been enjoined to dominate ungoverned space and protect the cyber domain to provide a secured environment for national development.
Reactive actions and response times to incidents need to be enhanced. This will require the full implementation of the OBATs through massive recruitment and acquisition of equipment.
7 allied military officers are among the 73 participants inaugurated at the Course 7 of the War College Nigeria for the 2023 session. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And as Nigerians prepare for the forthcoming general elections, the Federal Road Safety Corps is deploying a total of 21,783 personnel, 769 vehicles, 139 ambulances, and 33 heavy, medium, and light-duty tow trucks. This, the Corps says, is part of its commitment towards ensuring a smooth, hitch-free, and very successful outing. The Corps Marshal, Dauda Biu, called for enforcement of restriction of movement by ensuring prompt blockage of roads at entry points to prevent unauthorized movements across polling units, as well as screening and accreditation of vehicles hired by INEC from road transport unions for conveyance of sensitive and non-sensitive materials, among others. To land administration, the Gombe Geographic Information Systems has successfully migrated from analog to digital system of land administration in the state. Emmanuel Akila reports that the agency has commenced issuance of digital certificates to landowners.
To ensure a seamless transition from the analog system with its attendant delay, GOGIS used aerial photo technology to capture the imagery of the land within the borders of the state. The processed information now gives the agency easy access to all lands available for development.
Now over 20,000 files have been captured in our database. Now the files, you can access them digitally. This helps us to detect and prevent distortions, encroachment, and forgery.
Property owners who are the first to collect the digital certificates appreciate the attainment of such feat by GOGIS, as it gives them a sense of security to land ownership.
The coordinates of the land can be captured easily, and so that now makes it impossible for somebody to come and claim a property that has been assigned to you as an individual.
That my property is authentic. Nobody can come to drag it with me because it was signed by His Excellency, and I'm grateful.
The Director General of GOGIS assures that with the successful migration to digital operations, conflicts related to land ownership will be gradually eliminated in Gombe State. Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
To religious matters, Christian pilgrims from Nigeria are in one accord prayers, keeping their promise to seek the face of God for the successful conduct of the 2023 general elections. Adeni Itaro reports that historical significance of holy sites such as River Jabok and City of Gadara visited by the pilgrims provided needed inspiration for prayers.
They all came with a shared mandate to stand in the gap for Nigeria, especially at this critical time in our political history. And pray they did, in keeping with the charge given by the Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Christian Pilgrim Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam, who witnessed their departure from Abuja to the Holy Land of Jordan.
This river is very cold as it flows freely, but there is a lot of history behind it. This is River Jabbok in Jordan, where, according to the Bible, Jacob, now known as Israel, had a fight with an angel and had his name changed from that of a supplanter to Israel. It is one of the sites that, pilgrims from Nigeria are very excited to visit.
Because Jacob's name was changed to Israel, and so I believe that God will change Nigeria to become a very peaceful country.
Time heals, so it's for us also in Nigeria to know that God has brought us together, irrespective of our tribe and religion, that we should know that time should heal certain things, and then we should be able to reconcile our differences so that we can move forward.
We are around on Case Gadara.
Afterward, they traversed the hilly and tricky trail that led to the city of Gadara, another holy site spanning more than 2 millennia. The biblical account of how Jesus delivered 2 men afflicted by evil spirits and the site of the first church in Gadara are enough to inspire another round of prayers for self and nation.
Father, we are come here. Oh Lord, have mercy upon Nigeria.
And as a journalist saddled with coverage of the coming polls, it was only fitting that I joined in the prayers for a safe outing for myself and other colleagues. From the city of Gadara in Jordan, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
And the attention of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission has been drawn to a communication from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation on Saudi Arabian authorities intensifying crackdown on undocumented foreigners in their country. In the communication to the federal government, the Saudi authority notes that more than 45,000 foreigners were arrested for various offences, ranging from violation of residency rules, illegal border crossing attempts, and irregular migration. NITCOM therefore urges Nigerians travelling to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia without proper documentation not to do so, as Saudi authorities have heightened a clampdown on migrants. And it's time to talk business, and our businessman, Busy Benny, is here. Benny?
Thank you, Elizabeth. You're welcome to business. The management of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council says Nigeria is a country that guarantees return on investment. Speaking to members of the diplomatic corps from across the world in Abuja, the Executive Secretary of NNPC, Sarat Umar, informed the international community of efforts being put in place to ensure Nigeria becomes a constant preferred investment destination of choice and asked for increased patronage.
The central and strategic role of the NNPC in the coordination of all investment promotion is being activated to ensure Nigeria's investment promotion drive is given traction to onboard investment into the different sectors of the Nigerian economy.
And oil prices recorded losses of more than 2% as strong U.S. economic data heightened concerns that the Federal Reserve would further tighten monetary policy to tackle inflation, a move that could hit fuel demand. Brent crude futures dropped 96 cents to $84.18 per barrel on Friday, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures shed 97 cents, 1.2% loss to $77.52. Data shows that the U.S. Producer Price Index rose 0.7% in January after declining 0.2% in December. And taking a look at the stock market closed the last trading day for the week on negative territory with 53,804.46 basis points, a total of 172.9 million shares in 3,077 deals, corresponding to a market value of 3.765 billion naira were traded. Compared with the previous trading day, Thursday, today's data shows 37% improvement in volume, 5% improvement in turnover, and 15% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization is 29.3 trillion naira. FBN Holdings recorded the highest volume of 47.4 million traded shares, followed by Zenith Bank 16.9 million and Access Holdings 13.6 million. Well, that is business, but network news continues with Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Benny, for the updates. Let's take a